You are listening to Practical and Woo by Mindset and Manifest. My name is Eden, and I invite you to embark on a journey with me to explore the practical and spiritual edges of the unknown for the purpose of allowing you to embody and empower yourself uniquely as you are, and to intentionally create and live a life of freedom and fulfillment. Each week, I'm going to discuss topics such as energetics, reality creation, manifestation, astrology, tarot, human design, and more to help empower you to live beyond perceived limitations and to practically design your life so it feels like absolute magic every step of the way. Let's dive in. Well, hello, darling soul. Although it's summer, over here in the Northern Hemisphere, I should add. And summer often illuminates the playfulness inherent in patio season and cottage visits. I have come to notice an onset energetic shift that feels more weighty than usual. As an astrologer, I have been dialoguing a lot with my astrology peers and clients about the relevant astral indications accounting for why this sudden shift. And by the way, if you're curious about what might be happening in your personal chart or in the energetics of the collective, then please feel free to reach out to me to connect. For this episode, I wanted to offer to you a resource and a tool that is incredibly useful for when you don't have access to an astrologer or any other kind of support professional and you're feeling like you need to move through the cycle of feelings of confusion, heaviness, overwhelm, anxiety, or panic that you might be experiencing. The tool is called the DARE response, and it was formulated by a gentleman by the name of Barry McDonough. I discovered this resource at what felt like a saving grace moment when I was experiencing a bout of uncontrollable overwhelm and anxiety. I wasn't sure what to do about it. And it turns out it could be resourced. I just didn't have the tools to support me at the time. My motivation for this discovery was the result of the fact that this particular brand of anxiety was continuously inviting me to fall into my own self-imposed traps of bad choice making and also seemed to inhibit me from allowing myself to move forward with self responsibility. If you've ever grappled with your own mental well being, then you might know the feeling of even the most mundane tasks being daunting and feeling impossible. In episode 17, I shared with you my vulnerabilities and origin story around my own mental health. And I still remember, like it was yesterday, how impossible it felt to do simple things, like even send an email or call a restaurant to book a reservation. The constant state of stress, the incessant worry of not being enough, was taking up all of my mental real estate and stunting me from being able to live functionally, let alone in the fullness of my potential. My mental health journey has been one that has been colored with ebbs and flows of what felt like was me taking one step forward and 7 steps back. Finding my way to seeing the blessings in my experiences, only to be met with swirling thoughts and suffocating feelings. The DARE response came into my life at a time when I was grappling with inconsolable fear of food, or more specifically, an inconsolable fear of a food allergy that I had been struggling with for 10 years. A food allergy that had become so pervasive in my everyday experience that I was beginning to feel afraid to meet friends for lunch or even go outside. A food allergy that turned into social anxiety. One day, after a mortifying episode of panic that came rumbling in as a result of my fear, I looked at myself in the mirror and wondered, What kind of life is possible for me now that I'm allowing myself to be so scared of this? What kind of person am I allowing myself to be now that I am feeling terrified to interact with others? I realized that being so afraid of my allergy was leading me to the irony of being afraid to live. And I had enough. At this point in my life, I had been exposed to so many resources, tools, helpful things to contemplate, and yet none of them were accessible to me through my fear. All of them were contained to the zone of my brain that required me to be calm and contemplative. And so I searched for something new, something that I could access, and something that would help when I was in a state of what felt like uncontrollable panic. The DARE response quickly became my saving grace in these times of anxiety, and I'm so excited that I now have the opportunity to share with you the formula here. DARE is an acronym and a framework invented by Barry McDonough. It stands for diffuse, accept, run towards, and engage. The reason I found this method particularly effective is because I realized that I could coach myself into saying the word dare even in times of panic. I dare you, I said to my anxiety as it continued its habitual pattern of naysaying and taunting in my mind. Remembering the word dare allowed me to remember the framework that could then help me ease the panic, employing one letter at a time. I'm going to teach you all 4 letters or give you, I should say, a high level overview. So let's start with D. D stands for diffuse. Oftentimes, panic and anxiety comes riddled with more than just a feeling. And if you know panicking and anxiety, you know that feeling is sort of like being underwater. At least that's how it shows up for me. It's this like wavy, swirly, overwhelming, energetic feeling. But it also often comes with these intrusive thoughts, these doubts that fly into your head uninvited. So the D in DARE is the remedy for such thoughts or doubts. You are inviting yourself to diffuse the potency of your mental chatter. You are disallowing yourself from believing it. And you are disproving what you're saying to yourself. An intrusive thought comes to mind. Let's say it's, what if my food is contaminated with the thing I'm allergic to? What if I need to use my EpiPen in front of everyone? What if it doesn't work? So, in response to your thoughts, you might challenge your mind with, so what? So what is the phrase that Barry McDonough suggests that you use. And by asking yourself this question, I found that you are able to invite yourself to move into a space of allowing your brain to answer it. So what? If my allergen is in my food, I will ask for help and I will use my EpiPen. And then people I am out with who love me and want me to be safe will understand. And if they don't somehow understand, then I have then valuable information about them. Another example is, let's say you're going on a stage and have an anxious thought. What if I mess up and everyone laughs at me? And your panic then turns on. So you invite yourself to diffuse with, so what? I must have been really, really funny. It is suggested in the context of the diffusing stage to employ humor where you can. Humor is an incredible remedy for shame and invites you into an energetic state of levity that is medicinal and allows you to become neutral and even invite a positive frame of mind instead. The next letter is A, which stands for acceptance. Much like quicksand or a finger trap, anxiety or panic tend to increase with severity the more that you try to resist it or rebel against it. Your body is frantically signaling to you that there is an emergency. It's akin to guard dogs needing a nod of confirmation that the unexpected guest of anxiety or panic is welcome. If you allow yourself to welcome your anxiety, then you can help to ease the response of your body. I have found that sometimes in the acceptance stage, your mind can bring up intrusive thoughts or doubts about accepting something that feels so scary or harmful. If that happens, you can use diffusion and your so what to invite yourself into a state of acceptance. When I move into the stage of acceptance, I like to visualize a table and invite a personified version of my panic and anxiety to sit with me for tea. I make them look friendly and a little bit less intimidating if I can. I then visualize my guard dogs curling up at the feet of my personified panic and anxiety and allow myself to breathe in the thought of it. After the acceptance stage is the letter R, run towards. Run towards is an interesting one. It's an invitation to put on your courage pants and challenge your experience to become more intense than it already is. If you are experiencing your anxiety as a tightness in your chest, you challenge your chest to become more tight and more heavy. I dare you to get tighter. Barry McDonough explains that by challenging your anxiety and panic, and by facing it in this way, it actually serves to dissipate the feelings more quickly because your body will be unable to meet the demand that you're making of it. The last letter of the DARE response is E. E stands for engage. Essentially, this is the stage where you trust that the other steps have been put to good work and you allow yourself to commit wholly and attentively to the present moment. If you are working, commit to going back to work. Immerse yourself in some kind of activity that you feel present in. For me, I actually treated myself to some fidget rings for when I'm at a restaurant so that if I don't have something else to engage with, I know that I have an activity on hand. Engagement can be any activity that allows you to feel present. In moving forward in your experience, you are inviting yourself to live into your potential and disallowing yourself from being immobilized by the inner experience that you're having. This whole process is also an incredible one to build trust in yourself and to learn how to trust that the choices that you're making for yourself and the methods that you're employing for yourself are actually working to serve you and keep you healthy, happy, and fulfilled. One of the things that I love most about the DARE response, which is also a testament to its effectiveness, is how simple it is. Each of the stages take only a couple of seconds, and the whole process takes only a couple of minutes to employ. It could be even a minute. I am so unbelievably grateful for this process and its application that it's had in my own life. So, if you're interested in reading Barry McDonough's book on the system, which is how I first immersed myself in it, I think I did audiobook. It was my mode of action. So if you are also interested in learning more about this system and reading Barry McDonough's book about the DARE response, then please feel free to check out the link in the description below. If you resonated with my share today or want to talk more about my experience, then please feel free to reach out to me. You, my dear soul, are so capable of moving forward in your life, no matter how impossible it might feel to you now. I am sending you 1,000 blessings. Until next time.